let's start with a little bit of an introduction of the process, right? You're here because, as you said, you feel there's more to life than what you managed to experience so far, right? There is something that's missing in your life, right? If I get it right, it's some kind of a sensation of being whole, of being in your place, of being comfortable in your skin. And in your words, just being happy, right? To change how you experience your life, or to change your experience of your life, first we need to understand the fundamentals. Like everything, when you're trying to fix your car, maybe you need to know how the car works. Right? So to do that, we need to understand the fundamentals. And it starts with understanding a little bit about the base concepts. And a good place to start is to understand how and what is this experience of life. We can't fully unpack it, but a little bit, and enough to a degree that we can start making modifications. So 2 things we need to understand. What is this experience of life? And how we experience it. Okay? So this is a little bit of a monologue, but let me try and explain it. To understand the experience of life, we can focus on the 2 words, experience and life, right? And without getting too philosophical, let's talk about experience. Experience is something that is happening now. Because if it's not in the now, it's a dream, it's a wish, it's an imagination, it's something that we strive for, it's something in the future, or it's a memory. It's something that happened in the past. An experience happens in that very moment. Right? If it passed, it's a memory of an experience. If it's in the future, so an experience is in the now. That's one element. Life. Think of any living matter. Right? One of the key characteristics is it never stays the same. Think of plants, think of animals, think of people. We constantly change. Right? So that's one. On the other hand, think of cement. Doesn't get more dead than that, right? It doesn't change unless there is an external force operating on it. Nothing will change. It can stay the same for hundreds of years, right? So one thing about life, it's dynamic. It's constantly changing. The second thing, it is unpredictable, right? You see a baby, you can never fully predict how it's going to be when it grows up. You plant, even if you know what you're planting, you plant an orange tree. You know you're going to get an orange tree, but you don't know exactly how it's going to look like, how many oranges will it produce, how long will it live. There is always an uncertain element about any living matter, right? So life contains itself 2 key characteristics. It's unpredictable and it's dynamic, right? And the experience brings it into the now. So our life experience has to include all those 3 elements, right? For us to be fully alive. Once we diminish any of those 3 dimensions, we become less alive. We experience less of life, right? That's already a key understanding if you take it in, because any rigid structure that you try and put in place in your life goes against the nature of life. So any ritual that you're very rigid about, it goes against the essence of it. So it's never gonna help you find your happy place. Right? Another element that we can already deduct from this very simple analysis and understanding is the fact that for us to live fully, we need to embrace the nature of the experience, which means we need to be okay with the unpredictability. We need to be okay with the unknown. If we're not okay with it, we detract our ability of living fully. When we seek the predictability, we diminish our own experience of life. Now, that is the most common trait with many people, because they associate predictability with safety, with security. So they seek the predictability. They want to know what's going to be in their life in a month, in a week, in a year, in 10 years. And they believe that they will, if they put certain structures, that will give them that predictability. So they already operate twice against the essence of life. They put rigid structures and they do not embrace the unpredictable nature. And they're trying to manage the dynamic element. See? So the first thing is to understand the nature, and then throughout our work, we'll try and get you more comfortable with those traits. Being comfortable embracing the unpredictable nature, being comfortable with not knowing, being comfortable with lack of predictability, the fact that it's constantly changing. Why? Because the change, if you look at the other side of that coin, it also means opportunity. All right? So that's one element. The second element we need to understand before we get going is, how do you actually experience life? How does that system work? Right? So if you think about yourself, you have 5/6 senses. Depends on your belief system, doesn't matter at this point. Let's keep it simple. Let's say everyone agrees we have 5 senses. Right? Those 5 senses, what are they really? They're sensors. Right? It's a sensing device. If you take your 5 senses and put it on a waveband, trying to chart what waveband each sensor actually detects, what you will realize that if you place it on the waveband, you have 5 cracks in the waveband, very, very narrow, very tiny cracks through which those sensors detect. Right? Your hearing detects only between 20 hertz and 20 kilohertz. Some people 16 hertz. Your sight detects between 400 to 700 nanometers. That's it. We don't see beyond that. We don't hear beyond those ranges. Now, if you normalize it, let's say on a meter scale, 5 narrow cracks. Yet we have a very rich and coherent understanding of what reality is, what is going on. How's that happening? It's not through the senses. The senses are only sensing devices. So where does it happen? It happens inside of us. So now you hear my voice. I create all kinds of patterns, voice patterns. Your ear detects it. That's the sensor. But then what happens? Then you decipher that sound packet into a word. And then you decipher the word and you assign meaning to it. Those stages happen inside. They don't happen outside. They happen only inside of you. Now that inside means, and that process, we have billions of data points coming in every second, throughout all our senses. And we build a coherent picture of what is going on. So we have some kind of a processing system. It processes the signals and builds, first deciphers it, and then builds a meaning out of it. And the meaning is the experience. Therefore, our life experience happens inside, not outside. Right? So we have a central processing system that operates in the now, real time, and it processes an experience that is dynamic and unpredictable. That is our life experience. Mm-hmm. If we want to affect change fast, we need to start tinkering with that system, that operating system, because that's the operating system of our life. Right? That system is the system that decides how you respond to what's happening on the outside. Right? And how you respond decides or heavily affects how the outside responds to you. So now there is a process of co-creation between the inside or the outside. But your experience, not somebody else's, your experience happens on the inside, regardless of what happens on the outside. Of course, it is a co-creation and there is a mutual impact. But as you start changing, as you start responding differently, life will respond to you differently. If you go around on the street and smile to people all the time and hug them and be welcoming, they will welcome you. Mostly. Maybe not everyone, right? But more than average. If you go on the street frowning and angry with an angry expression, people stay away. There's an interaction. Mm-hmm. But your deciding power is on your inside. Right? All right. So what we're going to do in this process, there are 3 stages. First, we said we need to understand the experience happens on the inside. So we need to understand how your specific system works. That processing system, which is your central operating system for your life, is called consciousness. Right? Now we need to understand how your particular consciousness works. To understand how it works, there are 3 stages that we need to go through. Like any system, this system was programmed in a certain way. How is it programmed? It's programmed through 2 main aspects. 1, explicit learning. When you were a baby, your mother or father told you, this is a dog, this is a tree, this is a car, this is a street, this is grandpa, this is a house. So there was explicit learning. They've done it repeatedly till you got it. Good. I know this is grandpa. I know this is my house. Right? And the second layer is implicit learning. So for instance, what is success? How do I navigate my life to happiness? What is love? What is friendship? What is relationship in general? All those things you learn through your personal experiences and through witnessing the role models that you were able to witness. Some of it is people around you. Obviously, the core family is the biggest influence, the friends around it, etc., the society and the community you grew up in. And it's like an onion, it grows and grows, the neighborhood, the school, the city, the state, the country, the religious influence, whatever you had, all those are influences on how you perceive those concepts. Mm-hmm. Right? Media that you were exposed to, books that you read, all those create a concept. And then on top of that, you layer your personal experience. Your experience with your friends in middle school and in high school heavily shaped your perception of what friendship is. What you can do, what you cannot do, where are the benefits, where are the risks. Where are the pain points, right? Those concepts are the ones that really define how you experience your life, your level of happiness, your ability to generate a real connection with people. Make sense? Mm-hmm. So we need to understand how your system operates. Therefore, we need to understand how it was programmed. So that's the first layer. Then, after we understand how it was programmed, through this process, we'll understand where are the pain points, where are the belief systems, where are the mental structures, where are the concepts that inhibit your happiness today, that do not allow you to express yourself fully. You spoke a lot about you want to express the real you. You felt most of your life you kind of playing a part, you playing into other people's expectations, right? Mm-hmm. That's a great example. Where did you pick up this idea that you need to play into their expectations? Through the experiences that you had, because you tried to be yourself, that caused you pain. It's like, okay, let's switch to plan B. Let's see if I can play another part, it might be nicer, right? That's a belief system that developed through the pain, which is a great example how belief systems and mental structures develop. We operate as kids, and the core shaping happens in early childhood. We operate. At some point, pain comes in different ways. As it comes in, we learn and we modify. A lot of the modification perpetuates the pain. It doesn't fix the pain because it's the wrong fix. Mm-hmm. So we need to find those points in your system. Think of it as bugs in software. So you need to know how the software operates, pinpoint the bugs, take them out. In the case of human consciousness, taking out the bugs means healing. Why? Because this belief system that causes you pain today is rooted in a painful event in the past. Right? In psychology or psychiatry or mental health, this is called a trauma. What's a trauma? A trauma is a painful event in your past that has an influence, an effect, an impact in the present. Okay? So healing the trauma means not forgetting the painful event. It means eliminating the impact on the present. It's transforming a painful memory to just a memory. Okay? So fixing the bugs in your operating system means healing. We need to find those bugs and take out the effect, the hold that they have on you today. And then it will stay a memory. All right? And then we have the third part, which is once we take out this piece of software, we need to replace it with something. We can't leave a void. So for instance, how you relate, or the concept as a whole of friendship in your psyche, it's a mixed bag. You're drawn to it, you know that when it's good for you, you enjoy it. On the other end, it's also risky. It caused you a lot of pain, right? For many years. It caused you sadness, it caused you loneliness. Right? So once we take it out, we can't leave a void. So we need to replace it with a new concept. The new concept for friendship, and that's the beauty of this work at the age that you are. You can't do it really with young kids. You will get a free choice. This will be your decision how you want the new concept to be. Right? Brackets here. To get to free choice, you need to learn what free choice is. Because your current choices are a product of the same system that causes you the pain today. So, part of the bracket that we opened, full free will is not fully available. It's not available to people before they undergo some serious healing process. Because all our free will is subject, and it's a product of the same system that holds the pain, that holds the limiting belief system, that holds the mental cages. Right? Now, in this process, what will happen is you have a perspective of life. Your experience of life has a certain limit that it can unfold in. Why? Because of those mental structures, because of the limiting beliefs. Right? So when signals come in, somebody approaches you with a friendly gesture. Their gesture lands automatically on the concept of friendship and relationships that you have, which includes pain. So your response comes with the restriction that you imposed on inside. I cannot be fully myself because that will cause pain. I can allow myself to express myself within this range, not that range. Right? Mm-hmm. Now you express yourself like that. The other party says, okay, Jesse is a little bit reserved. He does not welcome fully. They don't know your story. So they respond to that. So they, in return, like you would do, limit their response. Now you create an interaction that is limited. And over time it becomes not so fulfilling. You don't get so happy being with this person. It doesn't feel so uplifting. See how it works? Mm-hmm. All right. So in this process, what will happen once, and we already know some of the pain points, but we'll need to find more of them. Once we pinpoint the pain points and we heal them, what naturally will happen is a lot of the mental structures, some of it will happen naturally and some of it will do deliberately, will start breaking apart. And once they start breaking apart, your true self will be able to come out more fully. As this process happens, reality, whatever, people, animals, your experience of reality will start unfolding very differently. And that's how, and it becomes a cascading effect, a snowball effect, and your experience of life starts radically changing. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Your interest in this process is because you want to be happy. Mm-hmm. Right? And so far, you feel you didn't manage, things are a little bit better, but you didn't manage to achieve the level of happiness that you believe is available to you.
Yes.
Right. Why do you think that is?
I think when I pay attention to just how I feel every day, if I go back through any of my journal entries when I write about my day, they're not always positive. It just feels baseline. I sometimes feel like I'm just coasting.
Why?
It's probably just because I still carry a feeling of anxiety or just don't feel fulfilled or happy.
Why?
Why?
You don't feel happy because you don't feel happy. That's
yeah,
right. Yeah. But why?
Why? Why don't I feel happy?
So let me ask you a question to help you.
Yes.
Where do you feel happy?
I feel happy around my family.
Where in your body?
Where in my body do I feel happy?
Yeah.
I feel it in my heart.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to feel happy most of the time in your life, mm-hmm. right? How do you think you can get to that state? If the feeling of happiness is in your heart.
Do things that make my heart feel that way.
How do you make decisions about your life?
I feel like right now, I feel like most of my decisions have been ways to avoid pain, and ways to feel comfortable.
Where do you make those decisions?
I would think in my head.
All right. So you're making decisions in your head with the purpose that you feel happiness in your heart. Right? Did I sum it right?
You did, yes.
Okay. That's a little bit like eating a soup with a fork.
Yes.
You understand why?
Yes.
All right. When we make decisions with our mind, we think of what will make us feel happy. But we substitute in that process the feeling of happy with the thought of happy, which are not the same. Because the thought of happiness includes all our past experience, all our mental cages, all the limiting beliefs, all the false role models that we were exposed to. This is where people think that if they're going to have a lot of money, automatically they'll be very happy, because that's the media. That's what the media portrays mostly, right? The rich and famous. Most of them miserable. But that's not what you see on social media, on Instagram, right? Everyone portrays their beautiful life. So people think, okay, if I'm going to go to this restaurant, if I'm going to drink Coca-Cola and eat McDonald's, I'm going to be happy. Right? That's the essence of advertising.
Yeah.
No? Multi-billion-dollar industry, it has an impact. So we substitute the thought of happy with the feeling of happy. And we navigate our life with that device, with the mind. Now, the mind is where all our phobias, all our anxiety, all our fears, again, all our mental structures and limiting beliefs reside. So, first and foremost, if you want to be happy, you need to navigate your life with the device that enables you to feel happy. That device is
the heart.
There you go. Where's the problem? You don't know how to do that. It's not only you, it's everyone. How do I navigate my life with the heart? The most common thing, especially in the new age woke circles, is I live from the heart. I listen to my heart. Most people don't really understand or know the true meaning of those words. See, why? Because for us to listen to our heart, we need to have access to it. Now, it sounds weird. What do you mean? It's in here.
Yeah.
I have access to it.
Yeah.
No, most people don't. Why? Because from 100% of humanity, the experience of pain shows up in their story within the first 6 years of our existence. So the first 6 years, for some people, it's even before they pop up because they feel the mother's pain. But for most people, their own experience, direct experience of pain, is happening within the first 6 years. Big pain. Right? Now, once the pain shows up, there are 3 automatic reactions. 1, we develop a belief system that's designed to avert this pain from repeating itself. For example, first time we stick the finger in the socket, unpleasant feeling, Not gonna do this again. That's a limiting belief.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it's a good one. But another one is, for instance, if my friends that I felt very close to stop relating to me, make me feel an outcast, I don't want friendships. Friendships end up being painful. That becomes a limiting belief. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's reaction, automatic reaction. We all do it, no control over it. Some more, some less, doesn't matter. But that reaction always exists. The second one is suppression. We feel pain. We want to get rid of it. The pain comes into our system, into our existence. We want it out. It's not a positive feeling. We don't like it. We don't know what to do, especially children. We suppress it. And down the road, we'll get to what does that really mean and how we deal with it in adulthood. The third reaction is, where do we feel big pain? Where did you feel big pain? The pain that your friends stopped being friendly to you in middle school. Where did you feel it?
In my body?
Yeah.
It's probably like in my chest and a little bit like right here.
Yeah. In your heart and in your gut.
Yeah.
Yeah. The heart is not just a pump. It's our main sensor for feeling. All the big emotions we feel in the heart. Big love and big pain. It's always in the heart. Sometimes it's so big that we feel it all over our body. Right? But the center is in our heart. Okay? Now, a young child, when they sense a very big pain, they can't avoid it, they can't avert it, they have no coping mechanism. Mm-hmm. The only thing they can really do is to numb the sensor. So the sensor will feel less. So what do? We reduce the sensitivity. It's an automatic reaction. So over time, it takes a little bit of time, but over time we start feeling less and less pain. If you go back to the first few times that you encountered this rejection from your middle school, from your friends, over time it became less. You learned how to distance yourself, but also you became less sensitive to the reaction. Right? Mm-hmm. So you reduce the sensitivity of your heart. Your ability to sense went down. Now, since the first such reaction, it did not, in your case, it did not happen with your friends. We'll get to it down the road where it started. But it's happening repeatedly with different types of pain. So what happens over time? We gradually reduce the sensitivity of our main sensor. And then we venture into adulthood. So now we operate with the reduced sensitivity. Now that reduced sensitivity, it operates a little bit like a crust over time. It becomes like a crust over the sensor. Or, in other words, an armor. Now, like a good armor, nothing can penetrate, but also nothing can come out. So it becomes an inhibitor to how we can express our feelings. Mm. Not only how we sense them, but also how we express. Okay? And with that, we start operating our life. So now, the device that tells you, are you happy or not, is not fully accessible, only partially. And you don't know that you're supposed to access it and navigate your life with it. Now, what I'm saying is not only you, it's everyone. Unless they went through a serious and thorough healing process, we don't have full access to this device that's supposed to be. This is the true navigation system for life. Because that defines how we feel our experience of life. Not here. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, we're not used to it. And this has been happening since early childhood. So by the time we venture into adulthood, we learned, first, not to relate to it. and to substitute the feeling with the thought of a feeling. We think that this will make us happy. We think that this is good for us. The thought, as I said, already includes all the garbage, not only our thought, it includes all the environmental garbage that were imposed or we were exposed to. So with that kind of operation, what's the probability that you're going to end up in a situation that you actually feel happy?
It's pretty low.
Exactly. So this process that we're going to go through is really about restoring your access and learning how to operate with the heart. Because the heart does not speak like the mind. The mind is a very, very fast computer. You have even the sentence of the question didn't even come to an end, you already know the answer. That's the mind. Very quick and very loud. The heart doesn't speak like that. So there's also a lot of practice involved. And you will learn throughout our work how to listen to your heart. How does it really work? Because it's a very different voice than the mind. Right? This device is what brought us, humankind, to the moon and created a lot of amazing things. But it rarely brings happiness. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So, one, we need to do some healing, meaning remove the impact and the influence of past pains on the present moment. Through that process, we can gradually dissolve the armor around the heart. Yes? And then, two things. We need to learn how to listen to it, which is a new experience that you're not familiar with, and rewire the mental structures and the templates that you operate about life and about yourself and about existence to something that really will bring you happiness and joy in life.